Welcome back to another episode of The Others, where I discuss all the other games that happened that aren't Collingwood. Let's get into it. So we're going to start up at the Gabba, Brisbane, Melbourne, and that Hugh McCluggage goal just sealed it, obviously, for the Lions, and they're looking scintillating going into finals, and I'd be scared to play them in finals as a Collingwood supporter, but as a sort of neutral supporter, I'd be scared as well. Cosy Pickett kicks 5 goals, and Cosy Pickett he can really be anything. I love what Cosy does, and yes, Melbourne get the loss, and I really don't like Melbourne just in general, but I'm trying to stay impartial when I talk about these. But Melbourne did look good for patches, and obviously they were leading going into the last quarter. Brisbane had to come out of it to like a 23-point deficit or something like that. And Brisbane, Lachie Neale, Dunkley, McCluggage, these guys just absolutely took them to another level, and they had to because with the 0-4 start that Brisbane had, they needed to do everything possible to be able to make finals, and now they're just within striking distance, and looking very good. They go up to the Gabba. I tipped Melbourne. I thought Melbourne were going to win, and they were winning. And then Brisbane just are coming really good at the right time, and really firing at the right time. So Brisbane, yeah, looking very scary heading into this side of September. The next game was Kangaroos and the Bulldogs. This was one of the games that I watched back on KO Mini. I didn't end up watching this game live. But look, I like what the Bulldogs are doing. Bulldogs are one of those teams where they're just sitting ninth now. They're out by a little bit. But they're one of those teams where they can do great things, but it just depends, what Bulldogs team shows up. And this was the first time since I think last year where they played their 4 big tools. So Norton, Darcy, Lobb, and Uehagen. And I think that worked really well. Lobb had the most intercept marks for the game, the most intercept possessions for the game when he went down back. I thought that was a really good move. Marcus Bontempelli, back spasms throughout the game. Throughout the week. And Beveridge comes out and says that he's 50-50 to play. He has a hell ton of disposals, clearances, instrumental. This might honestly, if it's not Nick Dacos winning the Brownlow, this might be the year where we might see a tie. It could be Bont, it could be Cripps, it could be Nick, but it's going to be really close on Brownlow night, because he just had another fantastic game, and he's willing this Bulldogs team. The captain is willing this Bulldogs team to finals. Kangaroos, I thought they were going to get the win against the Doggies. I thought the Doggies might be a team that they could sort of pluck off, especially with the last 2 weeks, and what happened with the Pies, what happened with Melbourne. I thought this would be the straw that broke the camel's back almost, and I kind of was in the opposite end. I think the Bulldogs were just too good. But Sheasel, 27 disposals. Larky played well. Zurha. Does Zurha stay at the Roos? I really don't know. He's been kicking multiple bags of goals recently. Would love him at the Pies, but Kangaroos, you got to feel sorry for him. But they're coming well. It's just the other teams are just better than them, right? And they'll get this. They'll get the games into these guys, and I know that's what they've been saying for years and years and years. But they look good. When they're on, they look good, and there was patches in that game where they did look really good, but the Bulldogs, their strength, their seniority just, outmuscled them. So before the Collingwood game, I was at the Pink Lemonade with some friends, having a few drinks, watching the Collingwood, watching the Sydney Fremantle game, and holy shit, that was an intense game. Fremantle were leading the whole entire time, and then it obviously got into that last bit, the last quarter, so bloody frantic, and the draw was on, then the draw wasn't on, then the draw was on, then the draw wasn't on, and then Logan McDonald lines up from 50, and just tries to kick the ball 80 meters, and he misses, and it would have been so disheartening for him. But like, not even a point to tie the game. The worst that could, what was the worst that could happen happened. Murphy's law. But credit to Fremantle. I put Fremantle in the same sort of category I put the Doggies. But I think Fremantle are in the top four at the moment. The last time I checked. Yeah, so Fremantle are third at the moment, and that kind of really crept up on me. And they took it to the league leaders. And, Fremantle have had a really roller coastery season, kind of like the Western Bulldogs. But they're third on the ladder. Is Flagmantle on? I really don't think so. Like, you know, I was going to say they gave up a 32-point lead and nearly let Sydney win it. But Collingwood do that all the bloody time. So, look, I would love nothing more than a Fremantle flag, because I want every team to get a flag, except for maybe the Giants, the Plastic Club. But I would love to see Fremantle get a flag. Is it this time? I need to see more of them doing what they did against Sydney. And the best thing about that game was that Fremantle proved that if it can bleed, you can kill it, right? So Sydney aren't that invulnerable, invincible team that we once thought they were, because Fremantle just had them on the ropes for that entire game, and it was chef's kiss. It was so nice to see. I think with Sydney, like, McLean had a really good game when their other forwards sort of weren't stepping up. Papley was fantastic. They play the SCG so well. Of course, it's their home ground, but the SCG, you're 2 kicks away from marking it right in front of goal and kicking the goal. And that was proved time and time again. It was a big clearance sort of game. You won it out of the centre, you pretty much scored a goal. And Fremantle did that really, really well. I like the likes of Rowbottom. I thought their lesser names, Sydney, sort of stepped up a lot, especially in that last quarter. But Fremantle just too good right at the end. Now, while the Collingwood game was going on, it was the Adelaide Giants game. And Adelaide, 7 goals in the second quarter to turn a 12-point deficit into like a 30-something point lead or something like that. It was absolutely crazy. Like, look at this Isaac Rankin, right? At half-time, 21 disposals, 7 inside 50s, 5 clearances, 7 score involvements, and 2-2. Rankin, coming from the Gold Coast to Adelaide, big money, big deal. He's fantastic. He's probably the most improved, or one of the most improved players of the season. And if he's on, Adelaide are fit and firing and ready to go. Adelaide, I feel sorry for Adelaide. I had Adelaide in the top 8, and they just haven't been able to turn it on. Is it a coaching issue? Is it a personnel issue? But against the Giants, and the Giants really needed this win, Adelaide just came out and smashed them. Like, Fogarty kicked 3 goals. Jordan Dawson played really well, 10 marks. Mark Keane, and they snapped a 3-game losing streak. So credit to Adelaide, but I think this game says a lot about the Giants. What's going on there? Like, this team started the year off really strongly. They have got a fantastic team. Like, their personnel, like, they've got kind of like Carlton, like Gold Coast, Giants, and kind of like the Kangaroos right now. They are stacked with like first-round draft picks, high draft picks, and just an incredible team, a really good coach as well. Everyone thought they were going to improve on what they were last year, and they kind of showed that by coming out and smashing Collingwood right at the start. But I read today, would this be the most talented team ever to not make finals? They are in danger of missing finals. And I don't know if it's like a synergy thing or something, but something's just not clicking. And even though it's kind of like, if you play FIFA Ultimate Team where you have all these stars, but your connection lines are like red and orange and there's just no synergy. That's what's happening with the Giants at the moment. And I hate to say it, but I love to see it. I love to see it because I just can't stand the Giants. I just can't stand them. Geelong and Essendon were the Saturday night game, and this was just played under torrential rain at the MCG. And, this was a game where Geelong had the wood over Essendon for so bloody long. But you think that, after Geelong's 7-0 start, they go I think they went 1-6 before this game. And then Essendon, they're in the top 4. They're trying to prove themselves. I thought Essendon were going to win. But Geelong just came out, it was a bit neck and neck, how's it going? It was a bit here and there. And then Geelong just sort of stormed home. and they really, really put Essendon to the sword. And it's you never write off a Geelong team, and even though they look old at times and they look old in patches, you just never write them off. But Essendon looked dangerous when they were on, and that's the thing about Essendon. They're sitting fourth at the moment with the worst percentage in the league, or not in the league, in the top 8. And somehow they're sitting fourth, so it's a credit to them. But I still think they've got a little bit of that. They've got a little bit of that pretender in them, and I guess that's going to sort of bite me in the ass if they come out and beat us on Friday night, and that it is what it is. But there's just something about them that I still don't rate, and I think Geelong sort of showed that, and they showed them up, and they showed that you can sort of beat this Essendon side. And I think I saw somewhere that Essendon haven't beaten anyone in the top 8 this season, and all their wins have come from the bottom teams. The biggest talking point out of this game were the umpiring decisions, of course. It was that deliberate rush behind that wasn't a deliberate rush behind at all. He was under pressure. The umpire calls it a deliberate rush behind. Geelong get that goal. And then there was the chopping of the Sam Draper arms. Front on contact was Zach Tui. Front on contact, chopping of the arms. Sam Draper doesn't get a free kick, and everyone's waiting for Laura Kane or someone to come out and say they were incorrect. They were correct. The umpiring has probably been the worst that I've seen it in my time anyway. And these sort of things are dictating games. And imagine that happened on a grand final. You'd be absolutely spewing. Port Adelaide St Kilda was probably one of the most dull, boring, both teams trying to lose game that I've seen all season. Port win the game by 2 points. Ken Hinkley needed that. Port were on a 3-game losing streak. It was at Marvel, so I really thought, if I thought Essendon are pretenders, Port are even more of a pretender. I don't know how they're still. I think they're still in the 8. Just, I think they might still be. They might still be in the 8. Yeah, they're 7th, right? I don't know how they're there. I think Port are a sort of nothing team, but they had more chances than St Kilda. St Kilda didn't take their chances. In the last quarter, they did. They were doing well. They were kicking goals, and I thought, okay, here's that sort of St Kilda where they can run out the games a little bit better than their opposition. But Port just held on and did what they needed to do, but it wasn't convincing. Like, none of that game was convincing. It wasn't convincing that St Kilda wanted to win. It wasn't convincing that Port wanted to win. It was more convincing that, like I said, both these teams wanted to lose somehow. They tried really hard to lose it. It looked like it was just, I couldn't imagine being a Saints supporter or a Port supporter watching that game. Like, what do you sort of take out of it? It should have really been a Saints win. I tipped the Saints win. But Horne-Francis was absolutely incredible. I think Zerk Thatcher did really well. Zach Butters with that amazing goal out of the centre. Max King misses a sitter right in front. Higgins is kicking goals. I don't know. It was a bit of a nothing game. I think that was the most nothing game of the round for me. Into the final 2 games, Carlton and Richmond. Richmond neck and neck. They were down by 6 points in the second quarter, and Carlton go, oh, actually, let's just absolutely turn it on. I think they kicked 7 goals in that second quarter. Patrick Cripps, he's had 81 disposals in 2 weeks, and I said that Bont, could be up there for the Brownlow. Cripps definitely could be up there for the second Brownlow, and as a Collingwood supporter, it's hard for me to say that Carlton are looking very, very good and very, very dangerous. They had 11 individual goal kickers. They've got one of the best midfielders midfields in the comp. Sam Walsh is just incredible. Curnow, Cripps, they are looking formidable. They are sitting, I think they're 6 points ahead in second place. So they've got, the top 4 sewn up pretty much. And they're going to be hard to beat in the home and away season. They're going to be hard to beat in finals. And it hurts me. It hurts me to say that. I was maybe hoping for a Richmond win. But no, but Carlton, fantastic, right? And I know I've got family that are Carlton, so I'm happy for them. Happy for, some other Carlton supporters, not everyone. But no, they look absolutely incredible. Fantasia kicked 4 goals. Fogarty kicked 3 goals. So it was these other guys that were sort of stepping up for them, which was nice to see. Richmond, Dustin Martin goes down. He gets subbed. I think there was something to do with his back. But they kept in it for a little bit, and I thought they were just gonna, I knew they were gonna lose. I knew they were probably gonna get smashed, but I thought they were gonna keep in it for a little bit longer than they did. But Carlton are just too good. Like what can you do? You can't stop that blue tsunami. And the last game were the Hawk Tours against the Eagles, and Hawks win by 60 points. Not convincing at the start, but convincing in the second half. Ginnivan kicks a couple of goals. But I want to talk about how this Hawks team were 17th, and now they are 2 points out of the top 8. That is incredible. Sam Mitchell has got these guys buzzing, and Hawk ball, or whatever they're calling it at the moment, they're so exciting to watch. They in the end they dismantled a West Coast side up in, I think it was up in Optus, wasn't it? Yeah, it was up at West Coast. Their run to September, they could sneak in 8th, because there's anyone from 3rd to 13th. I think there's a game and a half in it. Anyone can finish anywhere. It is going to be a hectic final run into the last couple of rounds, and Hawthorn are just looking really, really good. Sicily has that shoulder dislocation. I think he's going to be out for a couple of weeks. They're sort of spiritual leader down there, but I love everything that the Hawks do, and they're one of my exciting teams. I hate that they've had so much success. They rebuild for a little bit, and then they're back into it again. I hate that, but they're looking fucking fantastic. They've got a good mix of young and old. Sam Mitchell, and West Coast, just be West Coasting. Oscar Allen comes back, and Waterman, one of the best key forwards in the game. They kick 1 goal between them. I think they went a little bit too top heavy, but West Coast are probably, just doing West Coast things. I have North, and even though Richmond got smashed by 70 points, I have Richmond over them. I don't see anything exciting about the Eagles, but credit to the Hawks, they might be a sneaky chance for the top 8. But anyway, guys, this has just been my others video, just my thoughts on the games, and that's what this is going to be. This is not going to be stat ridden. It's going to be just my thoughts, and some really, really exciting games and some really exciting teams. Game of the round. I think the game of the round was a Sydney Fremantle game. The bore of the round was the Port Adelaide St Kilda game, and the flashiest team of the round, I think, was Carlton, with just a blitz of the Richmond Football Club. But anyway, guys, leave your thoughts down below. What was your favourite game of the round that wasn't a Collingwood game? What was your worst game of the round? Let me know your thoughts down below. But until then, like, comment, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets, and until next time, double shackers. I'll swoop you later. Now, while